Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on DinamoTV. It's episode 28. My name is Tonchi Prusats, and I'll be your host for the next 60 minutes or so. And boy, after 3 wins on the trot, we can finally breathe a little easier as far as our senior men's NPL team is concerned. But the job is not yet done. There's still 3 rounds to go. Anything can happen. And so tonight we're going to give the senior men a little bit of a break from DinamoTV. Just keep a lid on things and just keep things a little bit contained, so to speak, ahead of Sunday's big game at home against Dandenong Thunder. It's going to be a big one. But in view of that, we've got an action-packed show, a jam-packed show. We've got so much going on tonight you wouldn't believe. And to get the ball rolling, we're going to be hearing from senior women's coach Tom Pondeljak and 4-goal hero. Yes, SIENNA DELIJA scored all 4 goals in Dinamo's 4-0 win over Sydenham Park. So we'll be hearing from them during the news desk segment of the show. We've got a special from the vault focusing on female football at Dinamo from about 8 years ago. You want to see that? We've got the coach of the men's under-23s team, the head coach, that is Adam TENNENINI. They've been doing absolutely well, and we'll find out how they went last night. It was the catch-up game against Altona Magic, played in absolutely cyclonic conditions, that's for sure. We'll also be speaking to the president of Adelaide Croatia Raiders Soccer Club, KRIVICIC. So each week from here on in, we're going to be featuring a different club that is participating in this year's Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament, which will be hosted by Dinamo, of course, in late September. And we're going to start with the A's, and tonight it is Adelaide Croatia. Now, the interesting thing is, of course, Adelaide Croatia last year hosted the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament. So Ian, with whom I caught up a little bit earlier today, he also provides some very valuable words of advice for us here in Melbourne with regards to this year's tournament. So, as we said, a jam-packed show tonight, heaps to get through. So we'll straight away take a little bit of a commercial break. When we return, it is time for the news desk.
The I&D Group is regarded as one of the largest deliverers of concrete structure solutions in Victoria. Formed in 1994 by Ivan and Kathy Filipovic, their passion and commitment to getting the job done safely and economically has underpinned their success in the industry. I&D partners with large-scale building and construction companies in both the private and public sectors on projects large and small. With our corporate headquarters based in South Melbourne and storage yard based in the southeast suburbs, we have at our disposal thousands of square metres of quality materials, along with state-of-the-art lifting and crane equipment, enabling us to deliver the largest projects. We are committed to delivering high-quality projects by partnering with our clients and collaborating with project suppliers to ensure each job is delivered to exceed expectations. From humble beginnings, I&D now employs more than 1,200 dedicated professional and support staff, involved in a number of landmark projects right across Victoria. The I&D Group is a massive supporter of the Croatian community, backed soccer clubs in Victoria, and is proud to be the major sponsor of the St Albans Dinamo Football Club in 2024.
It is yes, it's time now for the news desk. And, well, of course, we're going to start off with the senior men who, as I said, recorded 3 wins on the trot last week. A fantastic result it was indeed, 1-0 against Altona Magic. Here are some of the highlights of last Sunday's game at home at Churchill Reserve. Adam Palombi is your commentator.
Get into the lineups for Dinamo, the home side today. They opt to use Marko Bulic in goal. Michael Martinovic and Lee Broxham are in the centre-back partnership. With that of Johnny Malgaris. That was the late change in left-back position. His name written in pen on the team sheets provided by the referees. As Monek takes a fine touch, gets to work early on. Charging's Monek, now Burns. Fowler at the back post. Lucas Burns thought he'd try something on his own. Still nursing that injury concern. Still managed to find some firepower, but majority of goals are coming from the one-side player. When you're without him, you sorely do miss him. As Summerskill was up for grabs, wasn't it, in that play as it's fistled out wide to Burns, who wants to run at Boyce. Steps in beyond Boyce. Burns charging. Ball across the face, a goal! And the opener for Dinamo! Brilliant bit of play from Lucas Burns. He puts it on a plate for Josh Fowler, who simply couldn't miss from that range. And it's the hosts against the Cannons who fire first at Churchill Reserve. Gorgic clears. Josh Devine chases. Wellsmore gets around a couple in the engine room, but not as far as Dragicevic. Geddes in behind for Fowler. This would wrap up the game. It's Feely yet again. You could argue he's been the most prominent player for Cannons today, considering he's had a... Connor Hampson, the third of those changes in full back position, as that chip pass was rather tame from Summerskill, who's Somewhat fizzling out, you could say, in this contest. Now Salman, first touch for him. Flicks on towards a rampaging Kuzimovic, who's ran right out of real estate. June, this NPL campaign. You felt as if Dinamo had it all wrapped up. But Kuzimovic has it upon his right boot. His free kick had dip. And that is going to be all she wrote. Dinamo find their 6th win of the season at the expense of the Cannons. Churchill Reserve in raptures. Wasn't it?
Yes, and Churchill Reserve indeed was in raptures. That's 3 wins from 3. The last 3 games, how good is that? And as we can see now, the ladder there, we happen to be in 3rd last position. But as I said at the start of the show, the job is not yet done. With 3 games to go, there's 9 points for the taking. And at the moment, we're 4 points ahead of 2nd place Manningham United with a -2 goal difference. So that's not good. Our goal difference is certainly not that good. But this weekend coming is going to be a crucial game because we're going to be coming up against a Dandenong Thunder at home. That game kicks off at 3 p.m. But on Friday night, Dandenong City, our sister club, could do us a huge favour because they take on Manningham United. That game kicks off at 7:45 p.m. So flock down to Frank Holohan's Soccer Complex and watch Dandenong City Hayduk do us a favour and beat Manningham United, and hopefully by a big score as well. Or tune into YouTube and watch that game as well. But that's going to be a crucial game. Some of the other games happening this weekend: South Melbourne taking on Port Melbourne Sharks on Friday night. Heidelberg United play host to Hume City, also on Friday night. Then on Saturday, Green Gully at home to Avondale. Altona Magic taking on bottom side Moreland City. And Oakley Cannons taking on the Melbourne Knights. So hopefully we've softened up the Oakley Cannons, and they'll play poorly against the Knights, and the Knights can win. Our other sister club in the NPL competition. And now on to the under-23s. Unfortunately, last night our boys lost to Altona Magic 0-2. That game was played as a midweek catch-up fixture, and it was played in absolutely cyclonic conditions. And we'll find out all about that, plus all that has been going on this year with the under-23s when we catch up with under-23s head coach Adam TENNENINI a little bit later on this in the show. Now this weekend, Dandenong Thunder are our opponents. We will come up against them this Sunday at 12 p.m. Senior Women on the weekend. It was a big win for the St Albans Dinamo girls, who ended up doing very, very well and defeating it was Sydenham Park 4-0. That's right. Sienna Delia got all 4 of those goals. A little bit earlier today, I caught up with Sienna and Tom as well. And here's a little interview that we caught up just before tonight's show. Welcome back to DinamoTV. And it's now time to talk all things senior women's team. And on the weekend, Dinamo came up against 4th place Sydenham Park at Churchill Reserve on Friday night under lights. And it was despite the girls not playing for 3 weeks, either because of cancelled games, catch-up rounds, washed-out games, what you're not. Nonetheless, that break didn't do them any harm, and the girls came away emphatic 4-0 winners over Sydenham Park. All 4 goals were scored by Sienna Delia, and Sienna joins us on DinamoTV, as does the senior men's head coach, Tom Pondeljak. How are we, folks? Good to see you.
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
George, how are you?
Yeah, very, very good, very good. Sienna, first of all, congratulations, 4-goal haul. That's no mean feat. You did very, very well. How did you feel after they just kept going into the back of the net and going into the back of the net? And, you know, by the 4th goal, you must have been sick of it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think the team made it really easy for me to score.
Yep.
Set me up heaps of times, gave me heaps of chances, and, yeah, I just put them away.
And what's it like knowing that you're getting, that unbelievable service from the midfield and then maybe even from the back line as well. And you're in the end finishing off what's been a good build up play by the team. Who are some of the players that have really kind of been outstanding in that service to you in the game? Let's just talk about this game.
We had Izzy and Kelly on the wings,
Mhm.
so they were helping crossing it in. We had Yada and Alana both in the middle that were working hard and getting it to me as well.
Yep.
And just even the defenders, Christina Trollina, she did great getting it up to me as well.
Yeah, because I mean, Sydenham Park aren't any weak team, Tom. I mean, look, they're on the competition standings. They're fourth at the moment, so they're obviously no easy beats. But everything it was what would have been one of those nights at the office where everything just went so well, and you could almost put your feet up and have a beer.
Yeah, look, that's what happened after the game for sure. But no, definitely before the game, I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit weary. Obviously, like I've said before, the girls had like 3 weekends off.
Yeah.
I was just a bit worried about the sort of the match fitness. So yeah, look, the first half we probably a bit of a 50-50 game. I think Sydenham were good value. But once our girls found their feet, especially in the second half, really just started to dominate the game and the play, and obviously, like you mentioned, Sienna just getting on the score sheet 4 times, which is great to see.
Now, we've spoken to you in recent weeks and the difficulty of games being cancelled, catch-up rounds, all of that kind of stuff. And in the end, 4 weeks not playing. How did you, particularly leading up to last Friday night's game, how did you address that in training and just on the day of the match? Did you do anything different out of the ordinary just to keep their motivation levels up?
To be honest, it's not really. No, we just, like I say, week to week, we do our thing. We go out and train as normally as we would. I probably did push the girls a little bit during those couple of weeks at training because I knew we'd obviously have a little bit of time off over about a 5-day period. So I did push the girls at training a bit, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And obviously, I mean, going into the game, they obviously know themselves that they hadn't played for a little while. And like I said, I was a little bit weary, just physically more than anything. But yeah, look, it was tough for the girls. We were a little bit limited with numbers on the bench, so I couldn't make a lot of rotations. And to be honest, it's sort of taken its toll a little bit. So try and give the girls a good rest this week, and hopefully we can come fresh again on this Friday.
Yeah, Sienna, how did you find that break? Did you find it a good mid-season break and you were able to sort of, come back all rested, rejuvenated? Or was it starting to get a little bit out of hand, 3 weeks, a bit too much of a break? How did you find it personally?
Yeah, so after the first 2 weeks, I was kind of getting ready to get back into it.
Yeah.
And so after the third week, our third game got cancelled. And
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous coming up to the game on Friday. I haven't played a game in 3 weeks, so I was a bit scared of my match fitness. But yeah, we all did really well. We played just our normal game.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So that now means with after everyone's played 11 games, so there's 5 rounds to go. Westgate on top with 31 points. They're 5 points ahead of you guys, but you guys have got a game in hand, and that was that game in hand against Greenvale United, was it?
Geelong Rangers.
Geelong Rangers, correct. Yep, Geelong Rangers. So there's third last at the moment. So that means, that's a winnable game, which will bring you back to 2 points. Tom, I guess the big game will be the game against Westgate, won't it? That's going to be pretty much the grand final.
Yeah, look, everyone's sort of dubbed it in that sort of way, but to be honest, the reality is we're playing them the second last round of the season, so we've obviously got a couple of games before then, and like I've always said, I don't want to think too far ahead. We need to win our games. I mean, obviously we've got a game or two in hand, and we just need to win those games. And once we get over that hurdle, come Westgate, if it is the case that we're on track to obviously maybe try and jump them with a win. Obviously, we'll do everything we can to win the game. But like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for the moment, like I said, it's a week-to-week process, and that's where our focus is.
Yeah. This week, Sienna against Maribyrnong Swifts. They troubled you last time around. I think you won 2-1, wasn't it? It was a tough game, and they were, I think, on the bottom of the ladder. They've improved since then. They're fifth, but it's a game at home under lights. It's how are you looking at this game?
I'm quite excited to play. It's always a tough game against them. Even last year, they're a tough team. So, yeah, I'm excited for the girls and hope, we win.
Yeah, and under lights on a Friday night, you prefer playing games on a Friday night?
100%. We always say Sunday vibes are bad.
Yeah.
So Friday nights under the lights at Dinamo is the best.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, guys, that game kicks off this Friday night at the usual time. I think it's at 8 p.m. Is that right? Yep, 8 p.m. That game against Maribyrnong Swifts there at Churchill Reserve on pitch 2. We wish you both all the very best for this Friday night, but also for the remainder of the season. And Tom, I'm sure we'll be hearing from you regularly.
For sure, Torch. Thanks, buddy.
And that was SIENNA DELIJA and Tom Pondeljak from the senior women's team here at Dinamo. They're doing a fantastic job, and they're still undefeated after, 10 games of football. And well done to the girls. Hopefully they can keep that unbeaten streak going this week when they come up against Maribyrnong Swifts tomorrow night at Churchill Reserve. Folks, we're going to take a very short break, and when we return, we will continue with the rest of tonight's episode of DinamoTV. Welcome back to DinamoTV, and let's continue with the news desk, and let's take a look at the ladder for the women's. There we go, in second position with a game in hand over first-placed Westgate, and they're trailing at the moment by 5 points. And from what I'm told by the folks at the senior women's team, only one team gets promoted this year. So hopefully we're going to be that one team that gets promoted. There is always the proviso that the State League 1 teams cannot all field seniors and a reserves team, and that's where it's really important that we do have 2 teams next season. But that game against Maribyrnong Swifts kicks off this at 8 p.m. on Friday at Churchill Reserve, of course, and that's games going to be held there on pitch 2 at 8 p.m. Okay, let's turn our attention now to the junior boys NPL as well. Well, first of all, let's look at the results and the ladder. So the round 13 results, 2 games were washed out. Both those Brunswick City games, the under-14s and the under-16s. Both those games obviously not played because of a waterlogged pitch. Bendigo City and Dinamo in the under-15s at Churchill Reserve went ahead, and it was a good win to the under-15s, 2-0 over the visiting Bendigo City. Maxim Mikulic and Cruz Borg getting the 2 goals, getting a goal each and scoring those 2 goals for Dinamo. The under-18s also kept up their winning form of late at home against Moreland City, a 4-3 win. Yanni Apostolikas scoring 2 goals, Joshua Angelis scoring 1, and Jackson Knežević. This weekend coming on the 28th of July, the 14s host Eltham Redbacks. That game kicks off at 10:15. The under-15s, they travel to Harvest Home Reserve to take on Whittlesea Rangers. That game at 11:15. The under-16s, they're at home at Churchill Reserve against the Eltham Redbacks. That game kicking off at 2:15. And then we've got in the under-18s, Dinamo travelling to Clifton Park, is it, to take on Brunswick Juventus. Let's have a look at the ladders. If we first of all look at the under-14s and the under-15s, the under-14s, well, they slipped to 5th, but they do have a game in hand, and should they win that game, they will jump up to second spot on the competition standing. So certainly very, very winnable result there, no doubt. Then the under-15s, they've moved up to second spot on the ladder with their win, so well done to them. The under-16s, they remain in third spot at the moment. They've got a game in hand. We're very close up there at the top of the competition standings there in Division 3. And then in Division 3, in the boys under-18s, Dinamo doing very, very well, undefeated at the moment and sitting very, very pretty on top of the competition standings. We're going to take a very, very... Well, that's it for the news desk. Now, when we return after this, we've got our a very interesting From the Vault, taking us back to 2016, and it's focusing on female football here at Dinamo. Folks, I hope you're enjoying tonight's episode of Dinamo TV. Welcome back to Dinamo TV, and it is time now for our first guest tonight, our next guest, I should say. At the moment, the under-23s are doing very, very well. Although last night there was a slight hiccup, but nonetheless, overall, it has been a very, very positive season. And with 3 games to go, we're going to find out what's happening with the under-23s. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome to Dinamo TV Adam TENNENINI. Tuna. Good evening, Tuna. How are you, mate?
Hey, Tonchi, how you going?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Now, it's been the last few weeks in particular have been fantastic. We'll talk about tonight, last night just in a second, but on Sunday, a big 6-1 win over Oakley, and so much so that after Sunday's game, the boys were in 5th place on the ladder. Mate, tell us all about Sunday's game and the aftermath of it.
Yeah, Sunday was a cracking game for us, Tonch. We brought in Ivo Razumich, played for us, which made a huge difference on the right side of midfield. Look, the boys just put it together on the day. I keep saying to these boys, and I think I've said it on here before, that we can beat anyone in the league on our day. It's just a matter of them turning up and believing in themselves. And Sunday was certainly one of those games where we just dominated from start to finish. We actually conceded the first goal against a run of play after about 10 minutes, but then went 2-1 up within 5 minutes after that, and then just ran away with it. So everyone contributed. Obviously, everyone really played really well, and it was a great day. And then obviously the seniors getting up straight after it was made the day even more special.
They did indeed, and there on the screen we've got the updated ladder after 23 rounds. We were 5th before last night, and then a little bit of a hiccup where we lost 0-2 to Altona Magic. Absolutely horrific conditions last night, I'm told. Tell us all about that, a 0-2 result.
Yeah, still reeling after last night. So licking our wounds this morning. It was treacherous conditions, but obviously the same for both teams. It wouldn't have made for a great spectacle, and I've yet to watch the video, the footage from last night, but I will at some point tonight. But it wasn't a great game aesthetically. I thought we actually played well in patches. Probably had the lion's share of possession. They just took their 2 chances, basically. One was a rocket from outside the box that the wind just took. That the wind was blowing towards one goal. So even at halftime, the team talk at halftime was a little bit different to normal, because the game changed for us because of that win advantage. So we conceded one just before halftime, which was disappointing, and then one early in the second half, and we're chasing from there. Tried to change the formation a little bit, Berkey and I, but and we did create a lot of chances, just wouldn't fall for us. Balls coming into the box, which we've been really good at in the last few weeks. With creating chances, it just wasn't falling for us. It was just one of those nights. But look, all in all, I think if you consider the last couple of months, the boys have been fantastic. And last night was just a blip in the road for us, I think. And it's a quick turnaround for us, so we look forward to Sunday.
Yeah, now obviously Sunday's game against Dandenong Thunder at home. We're not going to take it. We're not going to become complacent, even though we're playing the bottom side. But Altona Magic, getting back to them, I mean, they're in 4th spot. So, they are a good side. There's no denying that. But when you're dealing with young players, and as you mentioned last night, the conditions were really difficult, but for both teams, and obviously it requires changing a bit of a game plan and being a bit versatile. How do you find that dealing with younger players? Because younger players sort of tend to struggle with consistency. They struggle with adapting to new things that they're not, I guess, familiar with, as do older players. But how do you approach it as a coach when you have to all of a sudden change your game plan, maybe at a drop of a hat?
Yeah, it's a good question, Tonch. Look, the boys were a bit flat. Looking back, sort of processing last night's performance off the back of the game on Sunday on a I guess what would you call it, heavy pitch? I guess we played on pitch 3. So we sort of saw it in the legs of the boys, but Magic played on Sunday night as well, so no excuses whatsoever. But in terms of dealing with change, it's all about their growth. We've tried to work over since last pre-season, whether it's formation change, whether it's positional change. All the boys, if we look at their growth from the start of last season, the core that have been together, certainly seen it. And evidence of that is the boys that have progressed to the senior fold this season. But yeah, just to change, the boys can play 3 or 4 different formations now at the drop of a hat, which is fantastic, and allows us to change things in game when we need to. Also positional change. We've got a few players that can play multiple positions, and we've coached them that way to be able to do that. So that's been pleasing to see as well. But it's all just about their growth, and their development. So by the end of this season, I think that if we look back to the start of 2023, and you sort of measure their development, there's a few players there that we're really excited about looking forward.
It's certainly exciting times without a doubt, and I guess with the signing of half a dozen players in the mid-season transfer window, what it's meant is your squad now is a little bit bigger, a little bit enlarged, and some of those fringe players in the senior squad are now coming down and playing, getting more minutes. And you mentioned Ivo Razumic as well helping out, and I guess that brings me to my next point: how important in the under-23s is the introduction of some of these more experienced players, some of these older players, just for the development of the younger players themselves?
Oh, definitely. I think when you're playing with better players, it helps your own development, no doubt. Also, our ability to be able to throw players in, like I said, in different positions, and just try some new things near the end of the season. We've been told again that there's possibly no finals this year, so results, I guess, aren't as important. What's important is the performance, and results are a byproduct of that. I think if you perform well, you're likely to put yourself in a good position to win games. So it's been good getting those boys back. Even young Oli Dragicevic, has been on the bench for the seniors and came on last week against Oakley, but he's still getting minutes in the 23s as well. I think it's really important for players like him to still be getting minutes in the 23s while still being in the senior fold. And Cam's realised that as well. So we're certainly aligned with that line of thinking.
Yeah, now, look, the seniors are doing very well, but the job's not complete. It can be this weekend. We're still not safe from relegation, so I guess the focus always has to be on the next match, and in this particular case, it's on Dandenong Thunder. But I guess once that's done, focus then starts to turn to next year and starting to plan for next year now. As you said, there's a lot of young players that have made their debut in the seniors, and that augurs well for the club next year. But one of the players that made his a debut on the weekend, young Johnny Maglaris. Tell us a bit about him, and what are some of the other players as well that have come through the ranks? And there was a great photo that you kind of circulated during the week. Let's talk a bit about the young players that are breaking into senior football.
Yeah, was it my photo of the year? Was it Tonchi that I?
That's the one. Yeah,
there it is. Yeah, and I joked with Billy that it's not because he's in the photo, but this photo for me just everything that Berkey and I work towards, because in that photo you've got Ollie, who's just come back to the club, who's a former junior. You've got Johnny Maglaris there in the background, and Luka Jabraya, who I've coached since he was 15 years old, and that's why I do this job, Tonch. So to push boys through, and I joke to the boys that I'm like a proud dad on the sideline when I watch them play in the seniors, and it's exactly that. I'm just proud that these boys are getting opportunity because they've worked hard and they deserve it and they have the ability. So Johnny, especially, Johnny came to the club, and Alex Maglaris, his brother's in our squad as well, who's a really, really hot prospect as well. Just to mention his name. Johnny came to the club at the start of last pre-season, played in the 21s last season, and signed a senior contract at the start of this one. He did play a couple of friendlies. He's played in the Cup. He's come off the bench, but this was his first league senior debut at the NPL level.
Yep.
It was just great to see him out there against one of the top sides in the league.
Yeah.
in Oakley. So, it might have been a bit daunting for him, but he took it in his stride, and credit to him, he had a pretty solid game. So, I would have loved to have him last night against Altona, but the bigger picture is that, we don't want him back in our squad.
And that's because it's great you say that, because that's what it is. And sometimes people forget, especially at junior football, the whole purpose is development. And sometimes you've got to have the bigger picture in mind. And that could be at the expense of short-term results or short-term benefit, but it's the long-term gain for short-term pain, isn't it what they say? That's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Johnny, how old is Johnny, by the way?
Johnny is 21 this year.
Yeah, he's 21. Luca?
Lucas Debraya is 18.
And Oliver?
Ollie is turning 17, if not already.
Two teenagers and a youngster there as well. Yeah. That is absolutely fantastic. Great to see. Mate, I guess one final comment. The under-23s this year, as opposed to under-21s last year, it gives the opportunity for a few more older age players as well. And we mentioned that importance of having those older age players. You've been in the system now in both the under-23s and under-21s. What's your take? What do you prefer for that reserve team to be?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned before, Tonch, it hasn't really changed anything we've done. And if you look at now, having played 23 rounds across the season, I don't think it's changed much for any other club in the NPL either. I don't see. There's a couple of players in the league that are older heads in that league. So, like 22-year-old, for instance, would be an older head, right? But there aren't many running around in the competition, so it hasn't changed. I wouldn't say it's changed anything, to be honest. If anything, squads are getting younger. To give the young boys opportunity. And my philosophy is, and I guess a lot of coaches in the league are aligned to this, because I speak to many of them, that if you're not in the senior fold or you're not a prospect by 21, 22 years old, then it's probably time that you drop down and look for a senior gig in state league football or VPL 1 or 2, because we need to start. We need to progress the younger players and give them the opportunity to see if they're going to be able to progress to senior football. For us at Dinamo, I guess looking at the squad, probably that a few of the boys probably won't make it to play senior football at Dinamo, but you need to have a squad at the end of the day, and you need to give them the opportunity still. So. It's really exciting times at the club, because we've got a list of players that are young and have ability, and we're just looking to develop them. So, you've spoken about Chubraya, Maglaris, Ollie, there's Nick Murray, DeBono, Anton Bilic, and then you've got other players like Arben Gagay, Alex Iprasovsky, Alex Maglaris. And then you've got the younger crop under that, like your Maxi Chulina, a young boy by the name of Abdi, who's coming through, who I'm really excited about for next season. So there's a long list of players there that will continue to develop in the hope that they break through and play seniors for us at some stage.
Mate, definitely exciting times, and we'll really, really appreciate you coming on the show. I'm sure we'll get you on the show before year's end to have a look at next year's plans, but in the meantime, there's still three games left in this season, and there's still a lot to play for, that's for sure. Tuna, good on you, mate, and good luck for Sunday.
Thanks, mate. I just sent a message to Stepan Gal, just a joke. I just wanted to know if there's a trophy at the end of the season for most appearances on Dinamo TV.
Maybe there's also probably the most amount of fines for being on Dinamo TV as well. The end of season trip is sure. The money bags are going to be quite full for that end of season trip. Mate, good on you, and I really appreciate it.
Thanks, mate. I'll speak to you soon. Love your work.
You will. Adam TENNENINI Tuna, as he is affectionately known around our neck of the woods. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we will continue with tonight's episode of Dinamo TV. Don't go away, folks. And welcome back to Dinamo TV. It's now time for our next guest. It's time to talk tourney, the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament. And each week we're going to feature a different club that has registered to attend this year's tournament. And this week we're going to start with the A's, Adelaide Croatia Raiders. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome to Dinamo TV the president of Adelaide Croatia, Ian KRIVICIC. Ian, good evening. How are you?
Good, Tonchi. I'm well, mate. How are you guys going?
Oh, not too bad. We've had a winter's hit down here in Victoria, and then the sun comes out and all of that kind of stuff. All 4 seasons in one day. But that's made something that all of our dear interstate clubs can expect when they come to Melbourne. And my first question was going to be, Ian, what are you looking forward to this year's tournament? And please don't say the Victorian weather.
No, we know that's a standard there, mate. So we're prepared to, when we're packing our clothes, mate, we've got a bit of everything in there. I suppose just from our point of view, being the host last year, a lot of sort of work went into it, and it was more of a management thing over 4 days, and stress and all the other stuff that comes with it. So I think from our point of view as a club, and I suppose individually for myself as well, just going there and just sort of enjoying the atmosphere and the environment for what it is. So that's what we're pretty well looking forward to.
Being able to put your feet up, just have a couple of beers, relaxing. That's what it most sounds like, and that's excellent. Everyone has to have their turn. But
exactly.
That's a good segue, actually. You guys did organise it last year. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. I had other matters, but I heard it was a very, very good tournament. Everyone that speaks very, very highly of Adelaide. As I guess head of the organisation that organised it last year, what would be some of your words of advice to the tournament organisers and the volunteers for Dinamo 2024?
It's obviously, where do you start? It's a big event to organise. It's getting bigger and bigger, as we all know. And, I suppose words of advice, really just get all your roles structured up front, your divisions, get a manager to manage each one of those roles and stick with it. I think that's the key. There wasn't much overlapping. We met weekly for nearly a year, and pretty well everyone had their roles. We had managers in the different sectors, and just really focused on the planning and the structure of that, and just like we used to say, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And then I think that was the key, and that we had good people doing it, and we were committed to it, and then that's why you found on the day on the few days it all went pretty smoothly. Yeah. So like everything, it's always a planning.
Yeah.
You can never underestimate the scale of that.
And I guess that's a really good point about planning. And we know, a lot of people, a lot of us are involved in various businesses and management and what you're not. With Marko Butarac, their professional event manager, I'm sure things will go well. But what do you find is the thing that probably most requires effort? Is it the actual coordination of the tournament or coordination of volunteers? Is it the football operations itself? Or is it something else as well?
You need a good team in football operations. You need experienced people to put that together. Yeah. Once you've got those experienced people, that's pretty well handles itself. Volunteers is always, is the key. There's never enough of them.
Yeah.
So you need a really good manager there to be able to itemise the different sectors of volunteers. Some are happy to pick up rubbish. Some are happy to direct traffic.
That's a good point.
So it's just try to structure the different sectors of that, and then put people in accordingly. You have to, from a bar staff, with all the compliance stuff, you just can't throw anyone in that. I know maybe years ago everyone just used to do whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah. What we did is when we went out we had a job form, and in that job form, people, put down what they were happy to volunteer, and if they were happy to work behind the bar, if they didn't have their RSA, then we offered that to those volunteers. So, and then I don't know if they've gone on further with that and done a bit of bar work somewhere, but volunteers is always
Now, you mentioned a really good point there about people, for example, just volunteering and then going off and doing things. So, I mean, how good does it look on your resume when you say that you've been involved in something like this? And if it's working at the Grand Prix or the Melbourne Cup or whatever the case may be, it certainly opens up opportunities in many ways. That's good. How have you, as president of the club, found it this year, the fallout from the tournament? Both good or bad, financial or otherwise. Have you had an influx of new volunteers, or has the money that you've made from the tournament, were you able to invest that into infrastructure or whatever the case may be? How have you found the 12 months since the tournament in Adelaide?
Financially, it was good. Again, running our own, we own our own property, so there's always not enough money to sink back into it. But we sort of got our whole facility at a stage where we're pretty well on top of. So financially it was good. The money went back into that. Volunteers. We're lucky in Adelaide. We've always got a good group that will always put up their hand. So we never, knock on wood, haven't really struggled too much with that. No, we were just very proud of what we put on for that weekend. And, like you said, a lot of people are raving that it was, one of the better ones. We always like to think it's the best one. But we were very proud of what we achieved and moving forward. We've done a few things differently last year, first time. We worked out what works, what doesn't work. And even like we have a couple of functions. Now we've created these zones. So the butcher bowl, the starter kucha.
Yep.
And now we just press a button. So okay, we're in the starter kucha zone, or we're in the butcher zone. So it's been a lot of benefits from holding that tournament, and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, and since then, I guess obviously the senior men's team have returned to the NPL competition.
We have,
and that's been great, hasn't it? To have NPL football back at the Adelaide Croatian Sports Centre.
Yeah, it has. And 3 years ago when we set our 3 to 5 year plan, we're pretty well on track on that. And the plan was to head up to get in last season or this season. We did get in last season, which was good. Got a whole bunch of young kids. Our coaches are young as well. And then all of a sudden you're exposed in the NPL division, and it opens up your eyes a little bit. And we had a good start to the season, which was good. And then we're thinking, oh shit, that's all easy. We're going to be okay. We're going to play finals. But the reality does set in, and you always go through a bit of a slump. And we've been through that. We're getting on top of that now. We've got to win the next, at least a game to get us safe where we need to be, and we're confident we will. But it's just, you're in the NPL, and it's a different beast, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. That we're finding that the case this year at Dinamo, that's for sure. And finally, mate, what teams are you bringing over for this year?
We'll be sending over 3 teams. We've got our seniors, and then we've got the over 45s, and we've got the masters. So unfortunately, we've been struggling with the girls a little bit. So and that's something we need to get better at. So there's 3 of us heading over, and it looks like there's a few people jumping in cars and stuff like that. So hopefully we get some of our Croatian community that can go there and support, and hopefully they can help volunteer as well, because I think you get to a stage that, clubs, states need to lean on other states for a bit of support as well. So hopefully there's a few from Adelaide that can support that.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Mate, thank you for joining us on Dinamo TV. We really appreciate your contribution. We look forward to seeing you a little bit later on this year for that one weekend in September in Melbourne, when hopefully it's going to be yet another memorable Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament.
Thank you, mate. Thanks, Tonchi, and we're really looking forward to it.
Good on you. That's Ian KRIVICIC, the president of the Adelaide Croatia Raiders. We're going to take a very short break, and when we return, it will be time to start wrapping up tonight's episode of Dinamo TV.
G'day here, Danny Pusher here. Been part of the club forever and a day, volunteering over the last decade and a half, which has been fantastic. Been part of the committee at the moment with the tournament, and we're looking forward to a great one. But to help facilitate that, we will need a lot more volunteers like yourself. So hopefully you guys can get behind us and help us out to make this tournament a successful one for our whole community.
Hi, I'm Steve. I've been here since I was 12 years old at the club. I love supporting the club. I love helping out, volunteering, and yeah.
How you going? Rob Mickledge here. I'd love to see a lot more people volunteer their time if they can to help out the kids with just helping out with Dinamo at the club, and hoping to get more people to help us out with the tourney coming up shortly.
Volunteering for the club is fantastic for the children, and our community all stays together, and we all do our part to keep it all together.
Christian Dulwich here for the big 2024 Dinamo tournament, hosted here anywhere else, but we're in St Albans. We need volunteers like you, like myself, like Milch, and a whole bunch of others. Join now and welcome to the crew.
Volunteering is lots of fun. It makes you feel as if you're a part of a community, and bringing your friends along makes it one to remember. Yeah, so come sign up and be a part of such a great weekend.
Why do I like volunteering my time at Dinamo? Because it gives back to our community, it's for our kids, and yeah, it's improvement around the place, and hopefully everyone gets to see it at the Crow tournament on Grand Final weekend this year.
G'day guys, Darren Corshall here. Volunteering is a big part of our club. We've got the Croatian tournament coming up soon, and we'd love to see you as a volunteer. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalie Matrevsky.
Hi, I'm Anna Miach.
And I'm Lucy Havolik, and we are your volunteers.
We'd love for you to come and sign up
for this year's soccer tournament.
Proudly hosted by Dinamo Soccer Club. So sign up and come and join the Blue Crew.
Westar Prestige is a family-owned second-generation business which is celebrating 50 years of operations this year. They're a specialist prestige collision repair facility situated in the western suburbs of Melbourne, Victoria. However, they service all regions in the state, with many of their clients travelling from far and wide to use their services. They're also able to provide a digital platform for quoting clients' vehicles who are unable to personally attend their premises. They're an authorised manufacturer-approved repair facilities for Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, Peugeot and Suzuki, and are proud of their ongoing affiliation with these brands. They also work closely with a number of Australia's largest insurance brands who entrust them to be part of their preferred repairer network. Their support staff are always happy to assist clients from the initial process of lodging claims through to the final stages of collection of the vehicle on completion of repairs and post-repair. So remember, for all your prestige collision repair needs, consider Westar Prestige, an award-winning, long-standing Australian-owned business.
And that, folks, brings us to the end of this week's episode of DinamoTV. But before we go, if you're a viewer of the Crow Soccer Show podcast, as revealed on Tuesday night's show, that next week's program will go to air on Wednesday night, not on Tuesday night. And this is an opportunity for us to wish our sister club, our interstate Croatian sister club, O'Connor Knights, all the very best for next Tuesday night when they take on MacArthur FC in the Australia Cup round of 32 at the GIO Stadium in Canberra. Wishing everyone involved with the O'Connor Knights all the very, very best for next Tuesday night. Folks, that's it from me. Look forward to your company next Thursday, and make sure to get down to Dinamo either tomorrow night to support the women, on Sunday to support the men, or both. Churchill Reserve, once again, is just going to be the epicentre of football in Victoria this weekend. Mismo Dinamo. Good night.